Do I introduce my name as well?
Sam.
Betty.
Min. Jonathan.
Almira.
Finn.
Polly.
Tuto.
Rossella Damiani.
The second last question doesn't exist. It's either last or not last.
I mean, when I was 15, I wanted to be a stuntman, like Jackass. That was my growing up.
I got my first tattoo when I was 14, and it was my entire arm. And I managed to hide it for 2.5 years.
I just knew that I'm gonna make it. I was sure. I'm delusional as fuck.
Since we painted our first shutter, it's been 3 years. The gallery itself and its space has been open for 2.5 years. It's known for being such a creative space and the forefront of the creative scene from like the early 2000s, music, art, punch, rockers. Yet it's so shit, for lack of a better phrase. Like there is actually nothing here. It's just a cliche of its former self.
Don't you think like all the shops, right, out there, you'll see like 10 shops and they're literally the same. They will sell the same like shitty printed t-shirts and same vapes, and you know, it lacks originality, I think. The high street used to be a lot more cooler, but now it's just very tourist trap. But I think slowly everyone had to sort of like fade away or move out. Like now it's like Camden is just another sort of, you know, best places to go in London, or where do I go to, you know, like basically stuff tourists Google when they came to London. But I feel like it might change again, you know, because I like what the gallery is doing, and I think there's going to be more and more things like that happening in the future. So hopefully we're good.
It's not easy to find a job in London. There is this myth where, you know, everyone comes here and find like the most exciting jobs. No, it's not like that. You have to work really hard. You have to expose yourself a lot, even when you don't want to. A lot of networking, which I'm so shit. You know, maybe you're gonna stay 1 month without anything, and then the next one is gonna be full, completely full, and you cannot breathe. Finding the balance is really hard.
The things I've had to overcome to get where I am. I mean, it's a long list. I think everyone that's a London creative knows how tough it is. And I mean, not only are you competing against a lot of other people that are doing something similar to you, the cost of living, it's not a very affordable city, London. So at the beginning, you're having to have a part-time job or several part-time jobs whilst working in this industry, potentially working for free or very cheap to build your portfolio. So it's an incredibly hard grind to finally get to positions where, actually there's two, I thought this the other day, there's one time I went to the shop to buy myself just some breakfast and my card got rejected. And I was like, all right, cool, I guess I'm not eating for today. Like just waiting for, like, I hated that. That invoice was what you had to survive on. So if that didn't get paid on time, like you were fucked. And that's really horrible to live like that. Then another time I remember I had to literally scrape the back of my sofa for coins to get on a bus to do a job which would have paid an invoice, which would have covered everything. So if I missed that job, I would have had no money. So that was, the beginning is really scraping by. So I don't think it's a particular moment, but it was just trying to do as many jobs as possible to survive and do them all well without like stressing and having a bad time. I sometimes forget how lucky I am where I do have kind of a slower work year now compared to where I used to be. Like I can do a few jobs and I'll be all right for a few weeks rather than like fucking grinding and hustling and stressing. I mean, I still grind and hustle and stress because I don't like not working, but I think I've slightly got to the position where you feel more comfortable.
London is amazing, but really drains you. No one talks about this, but really drains you because you have to do so many things every day. Stay active on social media, book jobs, find a good team to work with, you know, casting people, put your personal projects out there, do editorials, do commercials. So you really have to be on it every time.
We get offers all the time about people doing shows and stuff like that. And I can appreciate that it is a massive dream of everyone to kind of do a show, a gallery show and stuff like that. There is the artwork, which is one aspect of it. Then there is cost, the framing, the logistics, the printing, all that stuff. You need to have somewhat of an idea of what you want that show to look like rather than making it up as you go along.
So once that idea was set and we all went out and started shooting and that was it. And they've been incredibly supportive of the gallery. There's never really been any no's or disliking anyone's work, which is obviously great. Helped us with bits and organising and dates, and we're running loads of events during the month as well. So it's been a really wonderful process, and working with everyone has been great.
My ethos with it is that we're all ultimately after the same thing. It makes it a lot easier if we all kind of come together and work on it together. We're going to get a lot further, a lot quicker.
Sam comes in, he's like, yo, I've got this idea for a show. How do you go from talking to Sam to the prints are on the wall, the lighting is where it needs to be, any other sort of set design is all where it needs to be? Like, how does that work?
It usually goes me giving a deadline and artists not reaching it. Initially, when the show came in, it was trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this work as a show between 4 people who do different things and have different ideas, and like, how do we make that into one show that it looks all good together? I mean, this show specifically, because it all is photography, it's a lot of prints. So we have printing facilities here, but there are limitations to that. The technology constantly fails me. A pain in my ass. I love our printer, but I also hate our printer. That gives me trouble constantly. Like my knowledge extends to the off and on button, and that's about it. Yeah, fingers crossed all the like mounting and the hanging goes well. So we have a budget for each show when putting on the show. That's the cap on it, regardless of how much we might expect to sell.
These things aren't cheap, and they don't necessarily just generate cash all the time. You know, your fixed costs are very high. We never ever have enough money in the bank to kind of go for 2 months. Opening a show is only one part of a show. Getting people to come down more than once or twice is the show. Like, you need to be able to get them to come back, especially when it comes to photography, which is like for this show, you know, very rare, very hard to sell a very personal portrait of an individual without being the person that took it. For a bloke walking off the street or whoever, they don't have that connection. They don't know the backstory. So you really need to focus on like that whole thing behind the scenes.
So when I came to this country, I came here as a refugee. I came here pretty much by myself, without my family. So my family is still back home, right? So I came here with my cousin. It's sort of like a GTA 4 plot, like Cousin Nico, that type of shit, you know? When I first came here, I had a chance to change my name, for example, right? So I have a full-on Asian name. I don't have like, I'm not like Michael Hain or, you know, I don't have a Christian name. And a lot of people around me at the time, even my like school teachers and all of that, they were like, oh, you know, why don't you change your name? But I decided to stick with it. And I realized it's really hard. Like, the amount of people, when you apply for jobs, look at your CV and they don't see you know, they see a foreign name, they would just like disregard it. So that would be like one of the biggest challenge. I mean, now it's okay, but you know, when I first came here, it was the language. You know, not being able to speak properly or not being able to communicate properly definitely impacted, you know, when I was like just grinding and coming up.
It was more difficult, you know, moving countries. At the beginning, not really, but right now, I feel it. Every time I go back to Italy, I kind of feel nostalgia. It's the dramatic one, you know? Because when I'm there, oh, I love it. But then I remember all the factors that made me leave.
What did your family think when you started to get tattoos?
They didn't like it, definitely. Being Asians make it worse. In my entire family, no one has tattoos, only me. And when I went back the next time, I already got like sleeves done, right? And they were shocked. But now I think they see me as who I am. I went back home last year, and that was my first time being back in Myanmar in 10 years. And that was my first time seeing my parents in 10 years, which is also fucking insane. But that's when I realized that, okay, my parents think I'm actually a bona fide adult now who's doing that thing. So yeah, I think it's good now.
I just remember I don't want to get so fucking cringy now, but when the moment froze, when the first shots I took, it felt unreal, and I thought, why the fuck am I spending all of this time in the office where I can do this? Honestly, the moment I started taking photos, not professionally, just for the bands, I've quit my job a few months after. I was in the mountains, I was hiking in Kazakhstan, and I started shooting a documentary about alpinists, Kazakh alpinists. And I thought, I cannot take this anymore. I cannot spend any fucking other second on a Zoom call, and I'd rather just chill in the mountains with the alpinists. And I just quit the job.
Tomorrow, if you were offered a job where you would be getting a whole lot of perks, company car, company phone, medical aid.
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I wish I could, but I cannot.
Definitely not. That's not happening.
I said no. Literally, I know what the question is gonna be.
I consider that the devil's work. You're selling your soul. You can only have all these benefits that everyone typically wants, but you're tied down to us. Be it physical contract or even whenever you sign a contract like that, you're morally signing a contract as well.
I actually was in that situation. I was in Paris this autumn during the Paris Fashion Week, and I was so ready to give up because that was the time when I thought I cannot make money, but I will just maybe find a job and just do it as a hobby, not as a full-time job. And then the stars aligned, and I was able to shoot at the Vivienne Westwood Fashion Week. At the same time, I actually applied for a 9-to-5 office corporate job, and I got it. I got the offer for 50K with the company perks, insurance, all of that shit. That it's literally dust in your eyes. Fuck no. Never, ever, ever, ever in my life I'm going back to working for somebody else, and not pursuing my dreams. At what cost, So the answer is no.
I worked in a corporate job where sales and commission were good, and it became not worth the money I was earning. It was soul destroying by the end of it.
There was one job I got, the really fancy bar, got paid twice the amount of whatever I was getting paid before, but I had to wear a shirt.
I couldn't make myself go into a job like that, no matter how much I was getting paid. I've always said I want to do what makes me happy, not what makes me money.
I'd rather suffer for a very long time and then finally be successful rather than just take an easy route.
I'd rather be a poor photographer than a rich corporate girl.
The sucking up and the networking and all that sort of side to it, I don't think I could do it.
If I got offered a job like that, I would never take it. I love my life. All the ups and downs and the hurdles and everything is fantastic. Not last year, the year before, I took a full-time job. The money was good, lots of job security, hated it. Quit within 3 months. I've been freelance for so long, I don't think I can deal with someone telling me what to do.
Do you think you in adult form have surpassed the expectations of your younger self?
Oh, 100%. My little teenage self would love to see me now. She thinks she was so cool. I was living in London, got a job at a gallery. I'd love this. When I tell people, I'm yeah, I work at a gallery. It's kind of little flats.
I don't think I thought I would be here. Everything that's happened in the last couple of years is a real shock, and I'm incredibly grateful. But it was definitely not on the cards. Last year, having a solo exhibition, recently got an agent, gonna be resident photographer at Abbey Road for a year. These are all huge leaps that still quite shocked. It's all happening to me. Don't know what the dream was, but we're here now.
I'm not worried about eating fucking potato for a week or something, you know? I'm not worried about that. I know that no matter what, this is not my last gig. It's not the goal to have a lot of money. I just love what I do, and I just want to pursue it for the rest of my life.
Maybe if it was really, really, really good money, I'd sell my soul, but not today. I feel like I can slug it out for a few more years on the poor life.
So no, you can stuff your job.